is Maki. Are you enjoying the movie GUNDAM SEED FREEDOM? It's being released in various countries, and events such as talk shows with the cast are being held. In Japanese theaters, a special novel has been re-released. This product sold out about 3 days after the release of the movie. It's a novel containing the official story written by Ms. Rugoto, who was in charge of the movie's script. It seems that it will be translated and distributed in some countries, so please try to get your hands on it, if you can. For those in countries where it won't be distributed, I've produced a program that explains the story so you can still learn about it. Of course, it contains spoilers, so if you plan to get the novel yourself, please be careful. This episode will also contain spoilers for the movie. If you prefer to watch the movie without prior information, I recommend watching the program after watching the movie. Today, we will analyze the scenes that were added in the novel version. Let's focus on the relationship between Shin and Lunamaria. By the way, the subscribe button you see on your screen is the Doodrian beam firing switch. Press it at the appropriate moment. You have the power to save the Impulse Gundam from a desperate situation. In the movie, love was talked about as an important theme. The love between Kira and Lars was central, and the love between Asran and Kakori was also talked about a lot. What about the love between Shin and Lunamaria? After the Foundation's nuclear missile attack, Lunamaria is alone in Shin's room, a scene depicted in the movie. Some viewers may have noticed what she was doing, but there was no detailed explanation. In this scene, Lunamaria was sorting through Shin's personal effects. It's a necessary task for a soldier, but it's cruel Lunamaria is regretting her own failure. She regrets not shooting down the nuclear missile. The nuclear missile that destroyed the Eldora area where Shin and the others were fighting was launched from a location far away from the Millennium battleship and Lunamaria. It wasn't Lunamaria's fault, even though she logically understands that it's not her fault. Lunamaria couldn't help but blame herself. It was a very short scene, but Lunamaria was in unimaginable pain. Later, Shin returns to the battleship Millennium. He carries out the Millennium hijacking operation suggested by Ramirez. In this scene, Shin is restrained by Lunamaria, identifying a person wearing a diving mask as a terrorist. Lunamaria displays high combat skills to restrain him. This scene is shown very briefly in the movie. Shin is easily restrained. Lunamaria, surprised to see Shin after removing his mask, slaps him repeatedly in what appears to be an attempt to hide her embarrassment. Shin weakly says if this continues, I will die, while Hilda watches their exchange with Stand. Some may have felt that Shin's if this continues, I will die was a bit over the top. Others may have felt that Shin said it out of embarrassment. The novel version shows a slightly different development. Mistaking Shin for a terrorist, Lunamaria immediately begins her attack. Demonstrating her martial arts skills, she knocks the terrorist to the ground with a single blow. Not giving her opponent a chance to regain his footing, she elbows him in the jaw. At this point, Shin removes his mask to reveal his identity to Lunamaria. By this time, Shin is bleeding from his nose. The teeth are somehow intact, but it's quite painful. It is described. Thinking she had lost Shin because of her own failure, Lunamaria may have decided to fight every terrorist without mercy. In the movie, Lunamaria's intense attack was cut. In fact, if they had shown Shin's face covered in blood from a nosebleed, Shin's fans would have been shocked. This is the reason for Shin's if this continues, I will die line. In the final battle, Shin asks Lunamaria to focus on support. Lunamaria insists that she can fight as well, explaining that the impulse can also equip a large sword. Some viewers may wonder, knowing that the impulse has a sword silhouette, why did Shin ask Lunamaria to focus on support? Shin is well aware of the abilities of the impulse Gundam. So why did he ask Lunamaria to provide support? Some might have thought that Shin wanted to keep Lunamaria out of harm's way. Having fought with the Immortal Justice and being defeated by the Black Knight Squad, he understands the strengths and terror of the enemy. In the novel, Shin admits that the Destiny Spec 2 is inferior to the Immortal Justice in terms of power and firepower. It is precisely because he values Lunamaria that he thought to keep her away from the Black Knight Squad. Unable to express his feelings directly, Shin asked her to focus on support. The movie also delves a bit into Shin's fighting skills in his battle with the Black Knight Squad. There is a line, "Doesn't this guy think at all?" However, this analysis was not correct. A coward and the others tried to read and analyze Shin's thoughts in order to counter him. But by the time they tried to read his mind, Shin's attack was already on the Black Knight Squad. Knowing what the opponent might do is useless without the ability to react. Shin's extremely fast reflexes render the code abilities meaningless. In the novels for Seed and Seed Destiny, it's explained that the Seed ability makes one's thoughts extremely clear, and everything around them seems to move in slow motion due to the accelerated thought processes. In fact, it was before this ability that the code and the others were defeated. Shin was not thinking of nothing. While he was fighting a code and her team, he was worried about Lunamaria. He immediately noticed when the Impulse Gundam underwent phase shift down. While outmaneuvering the 4 members of the Black Knight Squad, he also closely monitored the status of the Impulse Gundam. After recharging the Impulse Gundam's energy, the Destiny Gundam defeated the Black Knight Squad. Then, after destroying the massive beam cannon Requiem, the battle ends. In the movie, the scene ends with the Impulse Gundam reaching out to Agnes as she sits on the lunar surface, thus completing the roles of Shin and Lunamaria. The novel version shows a bit more after this scene. After the battle, Lunamaria confronts Shin. At that time, you told me to focus on providing support, right? Lunamaria speaks to Shin, who looks panicked. Did you understand that I can fight too? Shin nods exaggeratedly at Lunamaria. Seeing Shin's reaction, Lunamaria's expression softens as she speaks, so from now on, we'll always be together. I don't want to feel so lonely anymore. Shin notices that Lunamaria's voice trembles slightly. She thought Shin was dead after the Archangel and Immortal Justice were defeated. Realizing Lunamaria's feelings, Shin shouts with all his might, "We will always be together." Lunamaria almost laughs at his words, not as lovers, but as a declaration to a best friend. The scene ends with Lunamaria laughing and Shin blushing as they walk back together. In the movie, Kira and Loris as well as Athran and Kakali deepen their love, bringing reassurance to the audience. Shin and Lunamaria also deepen their love and trust at the end of the story. However, Shin's last line, though powerful, is presented as amusing, as words meant for a close friend. Still, Lunamaria senses Shin's serious feelings, and it makes her smile. Shin's awkward love and Lunamaria's deep understanding of him will undoubtedly support their relationship. A time comes when Kiro and Lois disappear and Dathran and Kagoli work for world peace. Kiro said this to Shin: I live the millennium and are friends in your care. If Dathran and the others sought strong allies, Shin would undoubtedly rush to their side. And no doubt Lunamaria would be at his side. Will the day come when Shin can speak romantic words to Lunamaria? What kind of expression would Lunamaria wear upon hearing such words? Let's look forward to their growth. Thank you for watching the program until the end. Let's meet again in the next episode.